A machine picked a target. The human review took 20 seconds. Then the strike went ahead. That check was offered as proof a person was in control. It confirmed a name and moved on. No real judgment was made. The defense is that precision saves lives without accountability. That has never been shown. Can precision be accountable if no one answers for it?
Let's get into it.
In 1943, a new bomb sight promised pinpoint accuracy from 4 miles up. The promise outran the evidence for decades. That same claim, that precision alone makes lethal force accountable, is being made again now, at machine speed. This is the Hamberger Report. I'm Andreas Hamberger, Enterprise Architect, Wellington. This is an episode about what the book calls the proving grounds, the point where the accountability gap stops being a theory and becomes a record. Across the earlier episodes, 4 dimensions of that gap were traced one at a time. Capability that outran the rules, accountability engineered out of the decision, governance that never constrained deployment, and legitimacy that was never sought. In the proving grounds, all 4 arrived together in the same campaigns at the same time. This is also the episode where the strongest argument on the other side gets a serious hearing. The claim is that precision reduces civilian harm. That claim deserves an honest answer, not a dismissal. The answer this analysis reaches is narrow. Precision without accountability is ungoverned, and ungoverned precision at machine speed has not delivered the protection its supporters promised. That is the case. The rest of this episode is the evidence for it, in 2 theaters and 1 honest test at the end. Start with the machinery. In one recent campaign, according to investigative reporting that human rights researchers later examined independently, military targeting was run through a set of automated systems that produced targets faster than any human process could check them. One system generated structural targets, buildings and facilities, at a rate that took target production from roughly 50 a year to about 100 a day. A second system worked on people. Using machine learning, it processed surveillance and communications data and gave nearly every person in a population of more than 2 million a score for probable affiliation. The reporting describes a resulting list of about 37,000 names. The part that matters most for accountability is the review. Several intelligence officers described spending about 20 seconds on each machine-generated target before a strike was authorized. The review confirmed that the name matched the person and that the person was male. It did not re-examine the intelligence or test the score or make a proportionality judgment for that specific case. One officer described their own role as a stamp of approval. That is not human control. It is the form of control with the substance taken out. Now apply the law. International humanitarian law rests on 2 obligations above all: distinctions separating combatants from civilians and proportionality, weighing expected civilian harm against a concrete military advantage. Both assume a specific human judgment for each attack. An algorithm that scores an entire population and produces a list of tens of thousands of names is doing something the distinction rule has never had to contend with. By the account of the people who built the system, the training data included civil defense workers, not only fighters, and the sources acknowledged an error rate of about 1 in 10 on a list that size. That is thousands of people who may have been civilians, marked anyway. Proportionality was handled the same way. According to the reporting, the system ran on preset casualty ratios, a standing allowance of 15 to 20 civilian deaths for a low-ranking target and far higher figures for senior ones. A fixed ratio applied across thousands of targets at machine speed is not a proportionality assessment. Legal scholarship examining the precedent has concluded that preset thresholds fail the case-by-case test the law requires. The law was not absent. It was present in form and bypassed in practice. Here is where the other side of the argument earns its hearing. The case for these systems is not stupid, and it is not made in bad faith. It runs like this. A well-built targeting system can be steadier than a tired human analyst. Precision, the argument goes, means fewer mistakes, fewer wasted strikes, fewer civilians killed by accident. If that is true, then refusing the technology could cost lives the technology would have saved. That is a serious claim, and this analysis does not wave it away. The reply is narrow. Precision is a property of the weapon and the targeting. Accountability is a property of the system around them. A strike can be geometrically precise and still be selected by a process no one can reconstruct, reviewed by no one who can be named, and governed by no rule anyone agreed to. Precision of that kind has not been shown to reduce civilian harm where no one can be held to account for the result. Next Friday's episode closes the series. The Ungoverned Battlefield, publishing the 21st of August, tests this whole argument against 5 conditions that would show the gap is closing. Subscribe now so it reaches your feed. Step back for a moment to the governance question, because this is the part that reaches every organization that buys or builds these systems, and not only the ones that go to war. The institutions built to hold us to account have engaged. An international court has issued arrest warrants at the most senior level. Another international court is hearing a case brought under the Genocide Convention. United Nations officials have said publicly that automated targeting at this scale blurs responsibility and puts civilians at risk. Engagement, though, is not enforcement. The warrants have not been served. The provisional measures have not halted the campaigns. No treaty, before or during, set a minimum standard for human review of a machine-generated target or an acceptable error rate for algorithmic targeting in a populated area. For allied governments and for the enterprises inside their supply chains, including here in New Zealand. The practical point is this: a system marked precision compliant is not the same as a system whose lethal decisions can be reconstructed, contested, and answered for. Procurement language routinely treats the first as though it were the second. It is not. The second front in the proving grounds is smaller, but it shows the same gap from a different angle. Here the story is not one military's algorithm. It is how the methods of one war move into the next. A tactic refined over years on one battlefield. Cheap drones flown by a live video feed appeared on a new front within weeks. According to defense analysts tracking both, the hardware is commercial and costs a few $100s. What transfers is not the hardware. It is the doctrine, the hard-won knowledge of how to use it. And doctrine moves through people and supply chains that cross borders. When a strike is carried out this way, the accountability question has no clean answer. There is no national government that authorized it, no defense ministry that reviewed the targeting, no court with clear jurisdiction over the operator. The law of armed conflict was written for states that wage war, bear responsibility, and negotiate accountability. Confronted with a non-state group using weapons supplied by one state and methods derived from another, in a country whose government cannot control the fighting on its own soil, the law does not go silent. It simply has no floor to stand on. So return to the question this episode opened with. Does precision on its own make lethal force accountable? On the evidence from the proving grounds, the answer is no, and the reason is specific. At every stage, the record shows choices, not accidents. Engineers chose the training data. Officers chose to accept a known error rate. Commanders chose the standing casualty ratios. Leaderships chose to continue as the toll mounted. And the wider community, shown the evidence, chose statements of concern over mechanisms of enforcement. The technology compressed the decision. The people in the chain chose not to slow it down. That is what ungoverned precision means. Not that the machine is out of control, but that human control has been made ceremonial while keeping its legal name. The book's test is simple, and it is falsifiable. Find one case in any jurisdiction where a person was held legally accountable for an autonomous system's lethal error. As of the writing, that case did not exist. Next week, the series closes by asking what it would take for that to change. I'm Andreas Hamberger. This has been the Hamberger Report.
That is the Hamberger Report for today. If this was useful, subscribe and hit the like button. It helps more professionals find the channel. You will find links to everything we covered in the description below. I am Andreas Hamberger, and I will see you tomorrow.
Like and subscribe.